Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Brent Venables, the Oklahoma Sooners, wrapping up fall camp. And Dill, there's no better way for the boys to wrap up fall camp than a little depth chart prediction going into 2025. And here's what I'll say, and I think a lot of the Oklahoma fans who follow this program closely know this. This team has the opportunity to be really good. Like, you hit on your quarterback. You have one of the best quarterbacks, not only in the SEC, but maybe in the country going into 2025. I think you have one of the best play callers in the country going into 2025. I think you have one of the best defenses in the country going into 2025. Dill, you got a lot of boxes checked. Now, the tricky part with Oklahoma is, as much as we love some aspects about this football team, there are some glaring question marks that we had about Oklahoma. One, is this offensive line fixed? Is there enough talent around John Mateer going into 2025? And I'll say this, these were big question marks back in January. And I'm not saying all the questions are answered just yet. Like, we got to see it on the football field. But if you're an Oklahoma fan that's waking up every morning and reading the fall camp intel, I think you're feeling better about some of those questions than you did back in January. I think they're a fan of the new faces that they brought into this program. Like, in the wide receiver position, look, Deion Burke's healthy, but Isaiah Satania, like that was a bigger hit than many of us realized back when he committed to Oklahoma in the winter. I'm looking at the offensive line and say, you missed woefully last year with your portal additions. Like Spencer Brown, Mike Tarquin, they didn't have a chance at playing in the SEC. Look, it sounds like we like what we have with Derek Simmons. Dill, it sounds like a couple of true freshmen and Mike Fasusi and Ryan Foji, they going to factor in. We think they can play in 2025. If I'm an Oklahoma fan, I'm sitting here at the what are we, back half of August, saying feel pretty good about the big question marks we have about this football team. And if you can answer those question marks in 2025, this team going to win a lot of football games. Fired up to get into this one. Before we do, and as always, to the Oklahoma fans, man, number one, if y'all are watching this, no doubt you guys have some takes. Please let it fly in the comment section. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. The amount of support the Oklahoma fans have shown the boys really over the last couple of years. One of the first fan bases to really listen to the boys. We appreciate you guys. Dill, without further ado, I'm going to put you on the spot here. John Mateer's a quarterback one. Moving on. And look, I think he got a backup in Mike Hawkins. And I'll say this. Like, Mike Hawkins marinating behind John Mateer in this Ben Arbuckle offense, what Mike Hawkins has the ability to be in 2026 should fire up a lot of Oklahoma fans. Jaden, you go out and splash. People want to say that Jim Nagy's tight with the money. He ain't afraid to go out and spend some money when he believes in a guy. They went out and spent some money on Jaden. Sounds like there's some separation at the running back one spot. Who's the second leading rusher for this Oklahoma football team rolling into 2025?
I think it's got to be Mateer, right?
Attaboy.
You can't take that part of his game out of what he does because he is a really good runner. And it's not just being an athlete. Like, he understands how to run the ball. He can make guys miss in space. He can run physically. And he's a sturdy built guy. I know he's not like Lenore Sellers size, but like, I think he can take a bit of a pounding in the SEC because he's a strong built guy. So I look like that, combined with the fact that I think Ben Arbuckle's offense can hum a little bit more if John Mateer is running the ball like he was at Washington State, I think he's got to be fed on.
I was starting this episode off with a little bit of trick question there, and you got it.
I watch Washington State. I know how good John Mateer is running the ball.
I'll say this about John Mateer, though. I think he's the second best running quarterback in the country behind Lenore Sellers. John Mateer had more missed tackles forced as a quarterback last year for Washington State than the entire Oklahoma running back room had last year. That's a problem for the Oklahoma running back room. But that also shows you how much of a difference maker I think John Mateer is with his legs. The second part of this conversation is we still have question marks about our offensive line and pass protection, right? I'm looking at that week 2 Michigan game and saying, if you want to deal with that Michigan pass rush, you don't want to be in second and third and long very often. You want to have at least some success running the football this year. If you're going to do that, I think John Mateer needs to get involved in the run game.
And I also think you want to be able to like take the aggression out of some of these defensive lines, like a Michigan or some of these premier SEC D lines. So like Again, I really like the way Ben Arbuckle designs his read option stuff. Like he can read
Sure.
multiple defenders. I think he puts a lot of guys in conflict. I think that's
Yeah.
another way to slow some defensive ends down. And I feel like Oklahoma tried to do that last year. You just didn't have a coordinator with like the brain power and the offensive mind that Ben Arbuckle has. I felt like it did get a little repetitive. I think with John Mateer's skill set and ability to run that sort of
Yeah.
offense, you can take the bite out of some of
And
these
dude,
guys.
it kind of worked. It kind of worked against Alabama. Like you did take the bite out of that Alabama defense a little bit. Now you didn't have the passing attack or the runner at quarterback to really maximize it. But I think you're right. You saw what that kind of threat at the quarterback position can do, slowing down front sevens. Wide receiver position, I do we both agree Deion Burks and be the wide receiver one, right? That ain't no question about it. Who do you think's wide receiver two? Because I got two names I want to throw out there, but I'll give you the T box first.
I would have thought it would have been Giovanni Gibson, but it like Isaiah Sategna's emergence, and I
Dude.
think what now they can do is kick Deion Burks out to the boundary. And again, I feel like people forget, like when he played at Purdue, that's where he did his work, and he was a real danger out there. Isaiah Sategna working from the slot, I think, can
Yeah.
be a real problem. So again, my lean is Giovanni Gibson still, especially if he's kind of full healthy, full go. But Isaiah Sategna, his emergence, I'm
Huge.
interested to see what he is in this upcoming
Still,
season.
I had question marks when Oklahoma went to the portal and got Giovanni Gibson and Isaiah Sategna. I was like, is that good enough? Is that good enough? Did they do enough? And dude, everything I know Giovanni Gibson been banged up, but what we heard from this kid before he got banged up was legit. And Isaiah Sategna, I think you're right, is comfortably the wide receiver two in this offense. What I love most is the fit, man. Fits like a freaking glove. Van Arbuckle, speed and space, getting our football players the ball in space. Isaiah Sategna can be dangerous with the football in space. Offensive line, the big bugaboo. Here's my if I am selling the Oklahoma fans on this offensive line, I am starting with there's a little bit more continuity with this unit and a little bit more depth to this unit, right? Last year at this time, it was like Jake Taylor's working at guard, Jake Sexton's working at guard, and then plays tackle, and you're moving all these guys around. It's not only interchanging players, but you're moving guys around. I don't think there's a team in the country that had more different combinations with their starting five than Oklahoma had. I mean, Dill, for an example, Jacob Sexton in a 3-game stretch started one game at guard, then went out to tackle, then started the next game halfway through at guard, then had to move back out to tackle in the middle of the game. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's a unit that I think has a little bit more continuity. I think we know what this starting five is going to look like. And when you do have some injuries, which inevitably are going to pop up, I think you have more answers and you're too deep. You don't have to start messing around with the whole offensive line when a guy goes down, which they had to do last year. Here's the last thing that I'll continue to say. You got a good offensive line coach. And I know he's in the doghouse for a lot of Oklahoma fans. I don't blame the Oklahoma fans for putting Bill B in the doghouse. Dude, over the last decade and a half, he's been awesome at his job. Why can't we assume that 1 year was like the anomaly and he gets back to running some good offensive lines in 2025?
Because I do feel like people forget how many guys like they sent a lot of guys onto the pros in 2024. Like
Yeah.
they were working with like really revamping that whole thing. So again, you didn't play particularly great, but you basically have 4 to 5 guys who played a lot of football for this Oklahoma team.
Yeah.
So again, you certainly expect a progression. If you don't see the progression, that's like, well, now you got to figure out what you're going to do with the offensive line coaching staff. Because
Yeah.
you're right, it probably is talented enough with like Jacob Sexton was a high-powered
Blue
recruit coming
chips.
out.
Yeah.
Jake Taylor, blue chip guy. Michael Fasusi, clearly a blue chip guy. Like they
Yeah.
have the players to do it. They have the continuity now a little bit. I mean, they still got to make it happen, but like the pieces are more in place than they were last year. I'd certainly agree with that.
100% agree. How much do you think Mike Fasusi plays this year?
He is like if I'm an Oklahoma fan and I'm a sucker for a true freshman playing,
Yeah.
especially when like they're one of
Yeah.
those like foundational pieces.
Yeah.
I really would love to see him trot out there week one because he is that guy. Like, I mean, he's a left tackle. Like, make no mistake about it. Jacob Sexton. Like, do I see a future left tackle in the pros with Jacob Sexton?
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Fasusi's like a top 5 pick.
You want to get it right, though, right? It's that balance of like we don't want to put him out there before he's ready, especially like when you see that Michigan game week 2 where there's some like legit NFL edge rushers. You want to play it smart, But if he emerges as one of your best 5, you got to get him on the football field. This kid, and it sounds like the reviews we've gotten from fall camp been dynamite from Mike Fasusi. All right, defensive side of the football deal, so much depth, versatility, playmaking ability. Brent Venables he's a chef and he's got all the freaking ingredients, man, to go out and run a really good defense. What I want to ask you here is, I think this is your starting 4 up front, right? I think Marvin Jones Jr. is probably going to be your starter. Obviously, R. Mason is too. R. Mason Thomas is going to lead this team in sacks. Who's second in the team in sacks going into 2025?
And this might be the toughest question to know because, like, I look at this other defensive end room. Grayson Halton very well might be the second.
I was going to say he might be it, dude.
Grayson Halton's a real problem. I don't even know how I'd register a guess as to who that next guy on the edge room is because Marvin Jones Jr., like, you liked what you saw early in his career at Georgia, and then I think you kind of hated what you saw at FSU a little bit. So where does he kind of fall in terms of like what his actual player is? Because
you just never seen him, like, even at Georgia was like so sparingly playing. It was like really hard.
But there were those like athletic flashes, and then you didn't really see much of a step at FSU where he's a good athlete, but like, well, he's still not playing particularly great. So to me, it's like, I'm not just going to throw out a random guy because I do think that's a really tough one to know, but somebody you'd like to see them emerge as that second defense.
It's a huge storyline, man. It's a huge storyline because R. Mason Thomas going to get the superstar treatment as he should. Tight ends chipping. If you're an offensive coordinator playing Oklahoma's defense, you are highlighting R. Mason Thomas and how can we deal with this cat? How can we take him away? Well, the edge rusher on the other side go and get some opportunities. Who can go and step up? Is it Marvin Jones Jr., former 5-star? Is it Danny Okoye going into year 2? Is it PJ Adebawore, former 5-star? Can he put it together? Kind of hard to know, but I think you need one to step up. I'll give you one. This fires me up, man. Like Jaden Jackson, getting some more pass rush juice. Wasn't really a pass rusher last year. More of like that run stopping presence. He was damn good at it. The buzz that you're hearing from him coming out of fall camp is like, hey, we think we took a step as a pass rusher. This interior defensive line in terms of pass rush production could be real, man. Like Dominic Williams kind of is what he is. Very solid, can contribute in the pass rush. Grayson Halton, top 5 interior defensive line when it comes to rushing the passer. What's David Stone look like in year 2?
David Stone's got the pass rush skill set. Like, he's not the biggest defensive tackle in the world, but he's a freak athlete. He's really explosive. Like, he's got, I think, what it takes to be a great interior pass rusher. If he emerges, that's huge because then you have, like, your tough defensive tackles like a Dom Williams.
Sure.
Again, I think probably is a better pass rusher in a sense because he does push pockets. That is one thing Dominic Williams can do. He doesn't really beat guys clean like Grayson Halton does.
He won't light it up with the sack rush. There's the sack production on the box score, but he'll be a presence, no doubt about it. Sorry, I didn't mean.
That's where you get like David Stone to me is such an important player because I don't know that you love maybe or know exactly what you have beyond those top 4. So David Stone, I think you really would like to see be a guy almost comfortable where they give him 30 plus a game and you don't need to question.
Yeah, that 4 though, is there a better 4 in the country? Because it's so hard these days to hold on to your depth. There are not many teams that are trotting out the caliber of interior defensive lineman that Oklahoma will be. So hard to hold on to depth. Oklahoma's done that. Linebacker position, Dale, and it just I've tuned it out. Like, I'm so happy the season's starting, so I don't have to listen to people be like they can't replace Danny Stutzman. So, like, look, I don't know if there's a singular player that can replace Danny Stutzman, but I look at that combination of 3 guys if we're going to lump in that cheetah position as a backer. Kendall Daniels, Kip Lewis, and Kobe McKenzie. I think that has the opportunity to be a better linebacker room than what we saw last year because Kip Lewis only getting better, man. Kobe McKenzie only getting better. Kendall Daniels is an absolute freak show. You talk about a defensive chess piece that Brent Venables is going to have the time of his life, scheming up and putting in different spots. I think by this committee, and I would throw in Sammy O here too, and say that group can be just as good as what Oklahoma was trying out last year.
And I love the linebacker room. I want to see Kendall Dolby get some work at that cheetah spot. I know it sounds like that like roles kind of changed a little bit, but
I
man, he was so good at it. I'm really interested to see what
I
they
don't
do.
know if the role has changed here. I think it's just Kendall Daniels is too
Well,
like
I just meant his role. It sounds like it's changing because
yes.
of Kendall Daniels,
Yeah. That's and Reggie Powers, man.
which I guess
And
makes
Reggie
you
Powers.
excited for Kendall Daniels
Oh
because I thought
yeah.
Kendall Dolby was an excellent cheetah.
100%. Like I totally agree with you. I mean, if we're like we have to move Kendall Dolby to cornerback because he's struggling again on the like that's good. If you're an Oklahoma fan, that cheetah position should be legit. Um, I feel better about the depth at cornerback. Like that was kind of a concern for me because like Gentry Williams has always struggled to stay healthy, and Eli Bone was dealing with an injury, and it's like whoa. Well, it sounds like Gentry Williams staying healthy. Sounds like Cortland Giller as a freshman going to be a guy. Dill, this team, it's got a lot to like. It's got a lot of versatility and depth on defense. This defense should be really good. You have a really good quarterback. If you can go up and block, and I'm not saying this offensive line has to be the best in the country, but if it can just be solid against the best front sevens that you're going to see in the country, this team has the opportunity to win a lot of football games. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.